10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, my friends, and thank you so much for coming to spend part of your Valentine's Day with me. I wish I had some good news for you today, but unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any. This is a tragic story coming out of Kansas City today after the Kansas City Chiefs victory parade for their Super Bowl win. Anybody following this story today? Because I did see it happen live and it was chilling. And it seems like just a couple of days ago, I was here talking to you about another incident very similar to this, but with not as many people in the way. I'm going to try and be good for the first 5 minutes of YouTube so that people can join and so that we don't get immediately stricken as being unfriendly to advertisers the way we did when we covered the Lakewood Church incident on Sunday. So let's give this a couple of minutes to kick in before we say any of the things, any of the words. Today is February 14th, 2024, and it is a very sad, very tragic day in Kansas City outside Union Station. Anyway, let's give it a minute. Scott Messerschmidt, are you still here? Can I give you a wrench tonight? Because I don't know. This was very last minute and very quick. And it is late here in New York. It's after 11:30 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Hopefully they were not anywhere near the victory parade. Scott, are you cool with that? Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay, so I watched this unfold today a little after 2 p.m., a little before 2 p.m. actually, in Kansas City as the parade and rally for the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl win on Sunday was wrapping up. There was a very tragic event that I will be able to talk about in about 2 more minutes. I watched the live coverage on a local Kansas City station and it unfolded right in front of me. And these newscasters had already been on the air for about 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours when this happened. And the newscasters wound up staying on for another 4 hours because of this horrific, horrific event. There's way too many of these events happening. And I feel like you just can't go anywhere anymore. Nowhere is safe. Nowhere. There were hundreds of thousands of people there today to honor the Chiefs for their Super Bowl win. Tons and tons of children. This is tragic. This should not be happening anywhere, and it's happening everywhere. Terry Jones, fun fact, do you know where your children are was broadcast at 10:30 p.m. during the Tonight Show, and it scared me half to death. I do. I remember that. Was it 10:30? I thought they used to say it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? And it happened right. It used to come on right before the news. I don't know. Maybe they moved it. Maybe they moved it. I don't know. Am I lagging? Somebody said it's lagging. I'm on Ethernet, so it should be okay. I don't know. YouTube has been really, really glitchy. Really glitchy lately in a lot of ways. People are commenting on videos. The comments are disappearing. So it's got a lot of issues. Oh, later it moved down to 10 p.m. It says Ghostly World. And Piers says 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yep. Correct. Correct. The other thing I found out today is that Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves is a badass. She's a badass. And her press conference, she did 2 of them. I found a second one when I came home after some things I had to do. She's badass and she's going to get to the bottom of this. 3 people are in custody. Oh, good. All right. Beautiful, messy ball. Thanks. If you're having a problem with your audio and video lagging, just back out and come right back. We're here for you. It says it was 10 p.m. and it was the Tonight, and it wasn't the Tonight Show. I thought it was right before the news. In any event, We're 5 minutes in, so let's talk about this. This is a horrific thing that unfolded today in front of Union Station, right as the Kansas City Chiefs victory parade and celebration was wrapping up. This is actually about 5 hours into the coverage, the live coverage from this Kansas City station, KCTV. I was watching this live as it unfolded, and it was chilling. So let me show you what happened live on the air, and then I have some other footage to show you, some press conferences, some updates from the hospitals, and I'm pretty sure you probably all know what happened today, but if you don't, a horrific scene unfolded. Let's take a look. This was right about, as I said, almost 5 hours into the coverage. Some of this is not going to age so well, unfortunately.
3 a.m. Some people brought couches out along the parade route. Guess what? They are tired. They have had a whale of a party, and they are now trying to make their way either back to a shuttle or back to wherever they parked, as far away as that might be. But the party right here is over, but this isn't something that people are going to forget for a long time.
No way. And we take a final look above downtown Kansas City right now, above Union Station, and now even a wider look at Union Station and the World War I Museum and Memorial out there on its front lawn. Everyone's soaking in the big win, the win of the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. Can you believe it?
And this was again another well-behaved crowd. We haven't heard all the official details from police, but so far it appears we haven't heard of any major instances. So good job on you, Kansas City. What has been an incredible.
That's not going to age well, because it's right about to happen. They're going to see people running, and look how many people are there. Terrific.
Incredible day for all the people of Chiefs Kingdom and all the people who showed up for this parade, and for all of our KCTV5 viewers who tuned in, took some time out of their day to join in on what has just been an absolutely fascinating day here in Kansas City as we continue to watch the crowd kind of break up. And
it broke up very quickly, actually, this year from the main stage. And there seems to be a ruckus going on to the side of the stage now, out there in front of Union Station, something that we're going to monitor here.
Okay, so she's just talking about a ruckus, and it's kind of like over here. Here's the stage. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Here's the stage right in front of Union Station. And it was right to the right of the stage, and it happened outside.
At KCTV5 and keep an eye on for you as well. The day, though, all in all, went very smoothly and no real problems to be heard. But it does appear that someone is being carted away in some sort of a
okay, we're going to go to some
emergency vehicle
pictures here.
Yeah.
We've got, and apparently the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. We're getting information now in our earpieces. We're learning about this right now as we speak. We're not exactly sure what's happening, but I'm being told that there is a police. We know there's a police presence, but police have acted. We don't know exactly what's going on, but as you can see here, look at this.
People
Kansas City, Missouri police officers running, and we did see the Kansas City Fire Department. We can now hear some sirens in the background. We've got lots of people out here. It looks like they are sheltering.
It looks like they're ducking from something or tending to someone potentially on the ground.
Okay.
We're going to follow this with you here at home as we sadly bring a concerning end to a successful season and pep rally.
Well, this is breaking news. It's happening. The parade, obviously, the celebration just got over. And as soon as we were getting to wrap it up and to send this back to regular programming, our producer told us, and said, hang on, something's going on. We're not sure exactly what happened, but we can tell you that police have activated. The officers there, at one point, you could see people who are crouching down So we don't know if there was something that sounded like what may have been rather a small explosion, a gunfire. We don't know, but people are crouching down. Police have activated. At one point, we saw people sheltering behind a vehicle. So we're trying to figure out what is going on as you're watching this with us. So we're gonna keep it right here on KCTV5. This is happening live. As you can see, that officer right there has his gun drawn. So this has now taken what has been a celebration, has now taken a very serious twist.
Yeah, something on the other side of that barricade. And we did see one stretcher emerging from inside that barricade as well just a few moments ago.
This was 5 hours into the broadcast. These reporters had been reporting this live for 5 hours when this happened. They had just, if you're just joining, this was the scene today outside Union Station in Kansas City, where the Kansas City Chiefs were being honored with a victory parade for their Super Bowl win. There were over 850 police officers on the scene, all types of law enforcement, at least 850 of them. These newscasters had just finished saying what a great day it was, how nothing crazy happened, and how everybody was well behaved. And then all of a sudden, they saw people running and they saw a scuffle to the right of the stage. Ashley, you watched it in real time too? So did I. Insane.
Being carted away by these smaller emergency vehicles here in this crowd. It does look like they're attending to something there on the ground, on the sidewalk, right there inside that barricade. So as soon as we can, we'll let you know.
Yeah, we're continuing as a news organization. We're now trying to communicate with our crews in the field, and we're going to continue to stay on top of this. All right, we want to send it over to Zach and Sharon, who are at the World War I Memorial. Guys, what are you seeing from your vantage point?
And did you hear anything?
Okay, I'm
I
not sure that I don't think
hear
Zach and Sharon can hear us. My apologies for that. But we're staying on the air with you following the parade and the celebration. This has now taken a turn. We don't know exactly what has transpired, but clearly police have taken this very seriously. We're seeing another stretcher that is being pulled out. This is from a different camera angle that I'm able to watch here in the studio, but appears to be a somewhat chaotic situation taking place outside of Union Station right now. We did see some people who were crouching down. So we continue to wait and wonder, just as you are, as to what's happening.
Yeah, and as you can see, clearly the source of all of this seems to be to the right of that main stage there where the pep rally just took place. I do believe that was KCTV5's Neil Jones. He was kind of positioned with the crowd right there in that area. So I'm very, very curious to hear from him. And as soon as we get him back live, we'll go to Neil Jones here momentarily.
This is a tweet from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department that says this, quoting from this tweet: "Shots have been fired around Union Station. Please leave the area." Let me repeat that. The Kansas City, Missouri Police just tweeted this out moments ago. "Shots have been fired around Union Station. Please leave the area." So as you can see in this shot here now, we're seeing there are 900 Kansas City, Missouri police officers who are along the parade route to keep things safe. You're seeing them now mobilize.
So right away, the KC Police Department was on it. They were tweeting immediately, telling people to get out of the area. Any false misinformation or any misinformation that has not been reported accurately is going to be deleted in the chat. So please guide your actions accordingly. Just because something's on X does not make it true. And any trash talk or vitriol in the chat is going to be deleted. So guide your actions accordingly. If you don't like it, you can go watch this on another station where they are actually not even policing their chat, and it's pretty horrific what's going on in there. I don't tolerate that. So that's the way we roll here. If you don't like it, you're free to move on. Thank you so much for playing. Have a nice day. This was a tragic, tragic situation. It has been reported now that there is at least one woman. There's a woman who passed away from gunshot injuries undergoing surgery. She was a lifelong Chiefs fan. and a mother of two. And her name is Lisa Lopez Galvan. I'll show you her picture in a minute. Somebody was saying that there has been another casualty reported. I did not see that yet, but there are also at least 21 other gunshot injuries. 9 of them, at least 9 of them, are children. When I saw the reports from the Children's Hospital earlier and the local hospital that was a trauma 1 center, a level 1 trauma center, University Health, they said that they had 8 shooting victims and 4 other injury victims. Children's Mercy Hospital had 12 patients, 11 children, and 9 of them had gunshot wounds. It's tragic. I'm going to show you the footage from the press conferences. Let's take a look at that. And the police chief, I think, did an amazing job handling this today, at least in her live press conferences. So let me take a look at that for you. There's also some footage on Twitter of people running. I didn't come across anything that was actually of the actual event, the actual shooting, but 3 people are in custody, according to the Kansas City police chief. Some of the players have come out and tweeted about it. Travis Kelce has tweeted. Patrick Mahomes has tweeted, and they are devastated. One second. Let's go first to, here's a story from the New York Post. And they have some footage. And they have some information on the 1 victim, the 1 casualty, mother of 2, Lisa Lopez Galvan. Here's the Post article. Lisa Lopez Galvan, Kansas City Chiefs superfan and mom of 2, was killed at a Super Bowl parade shooting. Most wonderful, beautiful person. Here is some of their footage. Video, I should say. Which does not want to cooperate with me currently. Yeah, everything's glitching today, guys. It's just one of those days, I'm telling you. I don't know if this even has any audio, but I'm going to show you the video. Right, Ashley, it has been reported that one of the fans actually may have tackled one of the shooters, one of the alleged shooters. And you can see everybody running inside. It looks like that's where the shooters ran to. As far as I know, they have not released the names of the 3 that are in custody or any motives yet. or even any indication as to which weapons were used. This man was detained. I don't know if he's involved or if he was detained for something else. Heartbreaking. This is heartbreaking. And I'm thinking of all the ticker tape parades I went to as a kid for the Yankees, because the Yankees used to win a lot. And yeah, glare, it says it's going to get to the glare says it's going to get to the point. Where are you? The chat's moving quickly. It's going to get to the point where we can't even have public celebrations with crowds. That's what I'm thinking too. I mean, it's not going to be long before they're just going to stop doing this stuff, because it's impossible to control. How can you control it? You know, I every New Year's Eve, I see this in Times Square and I think, you know, the NYPD has got this down. They've been doing it for how many years? And we've never luckily had any kind of major event in Times Square on New Year's Eve. And this is just horrifying. It's horrifying. You can't go anywhere anymore. You just can't. That's the way that's what it feels like now. Say you, my friends. What say you? Here is the first press conference that was held within a good amount of time, within maybe an hour and a half of the shooting. And Stacey Graves, this police chief, is she's a badass in my opinion. Love her. So we are going to see the mayor and the police chief in their first press conference today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Quentin Lucas, the mayor of Kansas City. I'm joined today by Police Chief Stacey Graves, our Fire Chief Ross Grandison. After I'm done speaking, Police Chief Graves will give details on the incident that happened earlier today. A few things that I want to make sure we note at the outset. First, today, we had 600 Kansas City, Missouri Police Department officers, 250 from outside agencies. We went out today, like everyone in Kansas.
About 850 law enforcement officers on the scene. He's pissed.
The city looking to have a celebration. That celebration was marred by a shooting today. And we recognize that there are some who are injured. We are praying for the safety of everyone. I've talked to a few different folks so far. One, we have spoken to the Kansas City Chiefs, who made clear that their prayers are with everyone who was at the parade today, everyone in Kansas City, and everyone who was touched by this incident. They also noted that their players, coaches, and staff are all accounted for at this point and safe. We, however, note that this is a fluid situation, so all that we are sharing now may change as the hours go ahead. We've also received a call from the White House that offered all federal assistance in the investigation. We had federal agencies present today. We appreciate that, and certainly in the days ahead and the hours ahead, we will make sure we continue to do this work. I will say personally, first, a thank you to the women and men of law enforcement, to the women and men who work with the Kansas City Fire Department and our other agencies. When the shooting started, I, like many others, ran for safety. I saw a number of agencies, including the Kansas City Police Department, officers with guns drawn who were running towards danger. We thank them for that. As I was leaving the scene, I saw members of our Kansas City Fire Department administering aid to folks who are seriously injured without concern for the shootings and the challenges that were near them. This is absolutely a tragedy, the likes of which we would have never expected in Kansas City, and the likes of which we will remember for some time. However, I want to say thank you to those who are making sure that we are safe today, those who are investigating this incident, and those who will continue to make sure that those who committed these acts today are brought to justice. We'll come back for some questions at the end of the chief's comments, but now the police chief, Stacey Graves.
Janelle says, estimate of how many people were at the event. The newscasters were saying hundreds of thousands of people. I don't have any confirmation on that, but that's what they were saying.
Casey Graves, Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. At the conclusion of the Chiefs rally today, there were shots fired on the west side of Union Station. Immediately, officers responded to the area, took 2 people into custody, and also immediately rendered life-sustaining aid to those victims. We're still gathering information on the number and the status of victims. But like I said, we know that one of the victims is deceased. We also know that officers ran towards danger. Officers were there to keep everyone safe. I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers, Kansas City and other agencies, at the location to keep everyone safe. Because of bad actors, which were very few, this tragedy occurred, even in the presence of uniformed law enforcement officers, who again ran towards them and took them into custody. To the people who were injured in this tragedy, our hearts go out to you and your families. This investigation is just beginning, and we are working safely to clear all surrounding areas and businesses. This is still an active investigation. We will continue to keep you updated. We will keep you updated on Twitter and most likely a follow-up press availability. Did you have anything? No. One of our victims has been declared deceased. We have.
Yeah, you're right. I think this is in Missouri, right? This is not in Kansas City. Brian, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the 10 spot. Brian from LTL True Crime. My good buddy says, burning the midnight oil, Melanie. You're the best. Have a good stream. I know. I figured it's late in New York, but it's an hour earlier in Kansas City, and it's only it's 3 hours. It's 9 p.m. on the West Coast. So listen, we got to talk about these things, and it doesn't really matter what time it is. I'm a night owl anyway. There were somewhere between 800,000 to 1 million people. And this is frightening. There were so many children there, so many children that were so lucky that it wasn't a lot worse. But there are still a lot of victims who may not have even been reported yet. And I wanted to put this banner up. If you are a witness, a victim who has not yet reported to the police that you are a victim, or anyone who may have video of the incident, here's the phone number to call, 816-413-3477. I'm going to leave that at the bottom of the screen for the rest of the stream so that you have it there. If you have any video, especially, they are really looking for video to see if there were any more people who may have been involved in this. Hey, Claire, God bless law enforcement, especially the Good Samaritans who ran into harm's way for the safety of their neighbors. You know what? And you know what? I did a stream on a Marine who subdued a crazy person on a subway train who was under the influence of synthetic marijuana. His name is Daniel Penny, the Marine. And he is now facing murder charges in New York City. So, I mean, this is what we're dealing with. If you are a Good Samaritan, you're going to be prosecuted. And thank God that there still are Good Samaritans left, because this is insane. I have a Twitter handle. Hi, I don't know who said that. I don't really use it because people just tag me in nasty stuff. So, I mean, I get the notifications. It's MLESQ. That's my Twitter handle. I do have it. I just don't really use it. I look at it for breaking news, but yeah, you're right. Beautiful messy ball. We need to stop being complacent as a society. We need to start with accountability. It starts at home, schools, school boards, local elections, and then up. Yep. Ace in the Cooler, looks like you are not the only one from Kansas City in the stream. Welcome, welcome, and prayers up for everyone in Kansas City who is affected by this, and everybody who even has to think about it and watch this on television. It's horrific.
Right now, we do not have an exact number of people who were victims of a gunshot wound. It could be upwards from 10 to 15, with one deceased. I do not have conditions on our victims just yet.
We will get that because we're going to go to the updates from the hospital representatives. So we're going to pull that up after we look at their second police. Well, let's see. There's another guy who's going to say something here. Actually, he steps in, I think, for the second press conference. So let's take a look at that. This is their second update, which was maybe 2 hours from the first update. Stacey Graves was just sworn in as police chief in December of 2022. So she's only been police chief for about a year, a little over a year.
All right, we are here to give another update. Again, I'm Mayor Quentin Lucas. I'm joined by Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves, the Kansas City Fire Chief Ross Grundison. One thing that we want to note at the outset, the situation continues to have updates. Things will continue to change throughout the night. That's why we are here to give you an update right now. The chief, both chiefs, will be giving more information both on the numbers of victims, the status of victims. The chief of police will give more updates on the investigation. A few things to note that we talked about earlier. In terms of who was in danger, what existed, it is my view, as someone who did have to run at the sound of shooting, that there were a number of people who were, in the very least, caught up in the incident in some way. Myself, my wife, lots of families, players, chief staff, and others, their spouses, their families, a number of people who were in or near a Union Station. So many people have been touched by this incident, and we recognize that. We also pray not only for the victims, including the decedent that was discussed earlier and their family, but also the victims of the shootings right now, who we hope are recovering inside our hospitals. We'll continue to give you updated information. At this point, we've talked to our federal partners. We have also talked to the Kansas City Chiefs. We will be talking to the National Football League and others. More so just to hear that all are safe who are with those institutions. And we continue to hope that all of those who were impacted are safe. To the extent you have information about suspects or others, we do encourage you to call the police. However, if for whatever other reasons you have information about the incident, we will be looking to share that through different methods. So if you have information about the incident, suspects, and others, please call the police. If you're looking for other information, we'll try to continue to give you regular updates.
Below is a special hotline number that they have set up specifically for this purpose for anybody who was a witness to the shooting today, or any victims who have not yet reported that they were victims, or anyone who may have video of today's incident. They're asking that you call 816-413-3477. I'm going to keep the number at the bottom of the screen.
I'll say this final thing, and then we'll come back for questions at the end. Today was tragic for everyone who was part of it. I had the chance to talk to my wife just a moment ago, who said we became part of a statistic of too many Americans, those who have experienced or been part of or connected to a mass shooting. That is something that I hope we all recognize is highly problematic for all of us. I continue to commend our police officers, our firefighters, and others who were there to respond instantly. But we also need to figure out a way to make sure that things like this stop happening in our country. With that, I turn it over to the Chief of Police, Stacey Graves.
Thank you. I just want to echo the mayor's thoughts and his prayers, and also to acknowledge that not only the victims who were actually hit by gunfire, but there are a lot more people who are going to be forever impacted by what happened here today. You know, as people were running, you know, a lot of us law enforcement who are running towards the danger also guided those who were in fear of their lives, and that's something to be said of how impactful today's event truly was. Again, we have confirmed there is one deceased person. Our gunshot wound total has went up to 22, and Chief Grundison will provide a little bit more context to that. Right now, we're still working on a total of number of victims. This is still an active investigation. I do want to comment on the question that I got earlier about a video of some fans tackling someone. We do have 3 persons detained and under investigation for today's incident. We are working to determine if one of the 3 are the one that was in that video where fans assisted police. Our investigators are working with all of the surviving victims to connect them with loved ones. We are also working to identify our deceased victim so we can notify their family as soon as possible. We are also in the process of staffing a centralized phone number. This centralized phone number will be for those who are victims, witnesses, and if anyone has video or any information about what led up to what happened here today. Again, we are continuously receiving information minute by minute, which is part of the delay of us coming down here. But I do want to pass this on to Chief Grundison to give a little bit more context to some of the status of our victims.
Just want to say that all of KCFD's thoughts and prayers are with those families that were affected by this tragedy today. And while we were not expecting it, we were ready and prepared for an event such like this. Our KCFD units, along with our mutual aid partners that were working to assist us at this event, touched a total of 22 gunshot victims. One of those was a fatality. We had 8 what we considered immediately life-threatening patients. We had 7 with life-threatening injuries, and we had 6 that were at minor injuries. The most serious, the immediately life-threatening injuries, we had 8 of those. Those were all transported and off the scene en route to hospitals within 10 minutes. So we felt the response was certainly adequate and appropriate, and I commend all our staff working there today, along with PD, that did an excellent job under difficult circumstances. We transported 3 different hospitals. We transported Children's Mercy, Truman Medical, and also St. Luke's on the Plaza.
Questions?
Yeah, so we're getting
Who are you asking?
anyone that can answer the question. So we've heard people talk about gunshots that are near the west side of the Union Station, and then also gunfire and situations that happen near the fountain and the stoplight over there.
The reporter's asking the question. He said, we noticed that there was some commotion and some gunfire by the west side of the stage, and then there was also some commotion and some perhaps gunfire over by the fountain. Do you know if there were 2 separate incidents or one?
Near the intersection of Conversion. Was there 2 separate scenes? Was there one big scene? Do you know the answer to that question?
That is still an active scene. We that is a large ground to cover, as you know, the size of the Union Station. I will tell you, we have located that crime scene on the west side of Union Station. As far as in the front of, that is still under investigation. We have crime scene investigators as well as the detectives. We had a lot of our assault squad detectives and our homicide detectives that were actually in uniform today working the assignment. So not only did you have uniform presence immediately responding to the scene, rendering aid, going towards danger, but you also had detectives that were immediately on the scene that are still there and actively working.
Are you investigating any sort of connection with the earlier shooting of the day at 27th and McKee?
We at this time we don't know if that's connected, but that is something that we are.
The reporter was referencing another incident that happened earlier in the day, and she was asking if it's connected.
Looking at.
Children's Mercy says that they want parents to contact them if they don't know where their children are. Do you know that there may be, like, are there kids there who don't have a parent?
She's asking whether there are any children who are missing their parents or looking for their parents that have been separated from their parents.
I can tell you we have detectives at all of the local hospitals that are investigating, like I said earlier, trying to connect our victims to their loved ones. Should that be the case and it's a child, someone can either contact police, or if that is what Children's Mercy is requesting, of course they can contact them as well. Right now, we do
Do-
not have a
Do you know anything about motive?
motive, but we are asking those who may potentially have any kind of information, a witness or video, to contact police. That's one of that, what I talked about, that phone number that we're setting up, that's going to be centralized for victims, witnesses.
That is the phone number below, 816-413-3477. This press conference, the second press conference of the day for Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves. They did not have the phone number set up yet. It is set up, and I have it posted below.
And potential video evidence.
Any age range on the person who died?
Any age range on the victims?
I do not have that yet.
Learned of a second gunshot victim who died in the family. Is that relevant?
I have not been able to confirm another death.
You mentioned that there were some victims taken to Children's Mercy Hospital. I understood from staff at Children's Mercy Hospital that they received, they have 9 shooting victims, and it's possible that one of them was an adult. Do you know how many children were shot? If it was 8 or...
She says, do you know how many children are shot? Because we are hearing from Children's Mercy Hospital that they have 12 patients related to this incident, that 11 are children.
9, and when we're talking children, are we talking about little ones or 17-year-olds?
Children's accepts patients up to 17. Children's accepts patients up to 17 years old, and but we do not have that information currently on the exact ages of
But you do believe that
patients
the children that were shot?
Yeah. I mean, Children's confirming we did transport to Children's Mercy, but we do not have the ages of those patients.
Mayor, how scary. You had over 800 officers deployed to work this parade, to work outside of Union Station, and still in a matter of moments, 22 people were shot.
He says, Mayor, you had over 850 police officers and law enforcement officers at this event, and in a matter of minutes, 22 people were shot. How do you explain that?
I mean, that's what happens with guns. I won't get in a big debate right now. I think we're still doing an investigation, but I mean, what you saw happen was why people talk about guns a lot. We had over 800 officers there, staffed, situated all around Union Station today. We had security in any number of places, eyes on top of buildings and beyond. And there still is a risk to people. And I think that's something that all of us who are parents, who are just regular people living each day, have to decide what we wish to do about it. Parades, rallies, schools, movies, it seems like almost nothing is safe. And we had hundreds of law enforcement there working hard today. And I do want to echo what the chief said, who are running towards danger. But in a matter of seconds, someone who wants to disrupt anything, someone who wants to create any type of situation, or someone who is very simply reckless can change not just one life or 2 lives, but almost 2 dozen.
And they're going to find a way to do it. They're going to find a way to do it. That's why I had so much trouble with this whole Ethan Crumbly case, with the mother being found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. I mean, the more this goes on, the more I'm kind of changing my opinion on that. But it was also my opinion that he was going to find a way to do that no matter what.
That to me is absolutely devastating. And it makes me feel vastly more concerned as a parent just in the world today thinking about that.
Chief Graves, can you tell us more about how you were able to detain those 2 individuals who clearly caused so much harm?
What was the question?
Can you tell us more about how you were able to take those 2 suspects into custody?
Can you tell us more about how you were able to get those suspects in custody?
Uniformed officers were on scene. I don't have all the information of exactly what they witnessed, but there was a pursuit, apprehension, slight injuries by our officers taking someone into custody. But as far as directly answering your question, I don't have that information right now.
Chief, you have 2 gunmen.
We were talking about weapons earlier. Can you tell me how many and what type of weapons were involved? I don't have the
She's asking about weapons. You said you had some weapons in custody. Can you tell us what kind of weapons they were and how many?
Exact on the weapons, but we have recovered firearms. I don't have a number for you or a caliber. We have recovered firearms, at least one.
You said you have two gunmen in custody. Do you believe there are any others still unaccounted for?
We have 3 people that we have detained. And that is what we are asking for, is if anyone has any information, is a witness or has any kind of video that may provide us if there's anybody else that was involved in this.
Is there a risk to the community at this point?
No, at this time, the scene has been cleared. It's being
They're asking, is there any active threat to the community still?
held. And when I say cleared, I say the scene has been made safe and it's been cleared. Right now, we are in the investigative portion of that, collecting evidence, whether that be digital evidence or physical evidence. That is what we are doing right now. And we're also conducting interviews. Obviously, we have several victims that we need to have a conversation with, to ask questions, also witnesses. So there's a lot of work ahead in this. This is just the beginning stages, but we are moving as fast as we can.
Can you explain that there was like a 5 minutes between the first shots and the second?
All of that
He said, can you explain? It seems like there was 5 minutes between the first shot and the second.
all of that has not been determined just yet. The number of shots, the time in between them, the motive, all of that is still actively being
So we
investigated.
don't know if there were 2 separate scenes. We don't know the answer to that at this point.
You don't know the answer to that, whether there were 2 separate shooters.
I cannot confirm that yet.
And just, did I miss this? Was this inside or outside Union Station?
This was all outside Union Station.
And you did say that third
Thank you.
person
Thank you.
might have just been somebody who was.
That was the
helping.
last question.
I
Was
just
it
wanna make sure I'm
inside
getting
or
my facts.
outside
You said you have
the
3 people
stadium?
in custody.
So again, that is Stacey Graves. I think she's a badass. I like her a lot. I think that Kansas City is very lucky to have her as their police chief. And I think that she's very composed. She's very articulate. She's very measured. During the first press conference, it looked like she was getting a little bit emotional. And then she said, I'm really angry. And you could just tell, you could just see the anger bubbling up inside of her. This is probably the biggest event that she's handled during her tenure as police chief. She's only been police chief for about a year, little over a year. She came into office 2023. She was sworn in at the end of 2022. And this is horrific. Yeah. Thank you, pharmacists, sending so much love and comfort for this community. This is horrifying. It seems like we're reporting on this every 3 days. Somebody else pointed out in chat how many other incidents like this happened today. One in Atlanta outside of school, I believe. It's too much. Like, when is this going to end? I don't know. But let's take a look at the press conference that was held outside the Children's Mercy Hospital today. And this hospital representative is going to tell us about the children that are being treated there.
I want to start by expressing our sincere sympathy and our heartbreak that we are feeling, as well as you in the community, for the violence that unfolded here today. I want to clarify that we have had 12 patients that we have treated, 11 of which are children with 9 gunshot wounds. None of those patients all of those patients we expect to have a full recovery, none of which are in critical condition. I want to also thank all of the teams that were on site today. Children's Mercy had specific staff down at the event so that we could proactively prepare for an event such as this. Our staff were able to put their training.
So you're going to find that both hospitals that are going to give little press conferences today, Mercy Children's Hospital, Children's Mercy Hospital, and University Health, both had representatives on scene and doctors and medical personnel on scene. So they were able to get to the victims very, very quickly. And huge props to them for being there and for being able to attend to these victims so quickly. She said that there were 12 patients. 9 of them have gunshot wounds. 11 of them were children. So I'm not really sure if maybe one of them was 18. It is a children's hospital. All of them are expected to make a full recovery, and that they had staff at the event.
into good use today, and we are thankful for all of them remaining professional, calm, and coming to the situation with ease and grace.
Question. 9 children shot. What's today been like for them, for the families?
He says 9 children shot. What has the day been like for them and for the families? What do you think?
Today has been extremely disheartening as we think about what we need to always be prepared for. With that being said, our staff were ready, and I'm extremely proud of our response. With that, we are also going to have to make sure that we stay in tune to what is the care that's needed after the violence that has been seen, not only for the children we treated, but I would encourage us to think about that for all of the children and families in the community. We, of course, are going to work through that with the specific ones we've treated, and we have had our Office of Wellbeing help our teams through the situations that they've encountered.
11 children. Can you give us an age range for those children?
I can. Our ages were between 6 and 15.
Were there children, because I know you guys put out a notice earlier today saying if any parents were not sure where their children
Sure.
would contact you, were there families that were separated?
We did have families that contacted us,
She asked whether there were families that were separated from their children.
and we went through our reunification plan, which was extremely successful for us today, and all of them have been reunited.
So you did have families reunited?
That's
We
good
did have
news.
families
We
we
did
reunited.
reunite people.
Can you walk us through kind of just the challenges that a mass event like this would put on the resources of the hospital?
Sure.
Can you walk us through some of the challenges that the hospital went through today?
The challenges of a situation like this, of course, you can imagine, but while we're also treating kiddos that weren't at the parade today for other situations, illness, surgery, things like that, some of that needs to be reprioritized, which we did well according to our mass casualty and incident command situation and plan. We had to pause some of the surgeries that we would have done normally if this wouldn't have occurred, and we had to mobilize resources to take care of the families and the patients that presented to our emergency department.
You said 9 of the 12 had gunshot wounds. Can you describe the injuries of the other?
She said you said 9 of the 12 have gunshot wounds. Can you describe the injuries to the others?
Victims?
They were incidental injuries is all I can say.
So they could have been from trampling or some other type of injuries that were not gunshot wounds. That's what I'm getting from that, obviously.
In the ages 6 through 15, those were the total patients or the ones that were shot?
The ages of the pediatric patients we treated were 6 to 15.
How were the children that you saw? What was their, I guess, disposition like after going?
How were the children that you saw? What was their demeanor, maybe, or something?
Fear. The one word I would just use to describe what we saw and how they felt when they came to us was fear.
Of the children who were shot, how many of them suffered serious and critical injuries?
Of the ones that were shot, how many of them suffered severe or serious injuries?
All of them will recover, and I wouldn't say that any of them are critical at this point.
Okay. That's just only going to get, the questions are only going to get dumber. I think she pretty much said everything that she needed to say, and I think that they got all the information they needed, but they're going to go on with a couple of more inane questions, as you can imagine. So according to this representative from Children's Mercy Hospital, they treated 12 patients. 9 of them were gunshot wound victims, and they are all expected to make a full recovery. And she said that they were in fear. Edward is asking, did they check people with metal detectors or search before the event? How did the shooters bring weapons into that area? Reports, this was an outdoor event. There were between 800,000 and 1 million fans there for this event. They did not have metal detectors. That would be virtually logistically impossible. And bad actors are going to find a way to get things done. I don't usually curse on this channel. Sorry. Yeah, insane. Just insane. Here's the representative from the other hospital who took in some patients. This is University Health. Let's see. where that one is. Well, I can't find that one. So in the meantime, let's go to the identification of the one woman who we know lost her life very tragically and sadly in today's event so that we can honor her. This is always, always about the victims. This show, her name is Lisa Lopez Galvan. She was a lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan, mother of two. And she was also a local DJ on a local radio station. I'm going to play a piece from Fox 11 LA. Hopefully they're not going to smash me on this, but we'll see. It's where it's we need to see it.
In Kansas City, Missouri, the Chiefs were celebrating their Super Bowl win when suddenly there was gunfire and a lot of it. And tonight, Kansas City radio station KKFI is saying the victim who was killed is a DJ for their station. This is a picture of Lisa Lopez Galvan. The radio station confirmed her death. She was host of a program called Taste of Tejano, and we just got video of the moment when some Chiefs fans may have apprehended one of the suspects.
No, we tackled him. We tackled him.
You heard fans saying they tackled the man who was trying to get away. When shots rang out, officers immediately started running toward Union Station in Kansas City, Missouri, shook the crowd celebrating the Kansas City Super Bowl win over San Francisco. The chaos and the confusion may be what celebrants remember the most.
The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment. We had over 800 law enforcement officers, Kansas City and other agencies, at the location to keep everyone safe.
Kansas City's mayor says while people were running for help, officers were running toward the danger. So far, here's what we know from police and fire in Kansas City. One person died, 21 people were wounded, 8 of those children, 15 of the wounded have life-threatening injuries, and 6 have minor injuries. 3 people have been detained. Authorities still don't have a motive, but they are investigating, trying to learn more about those hit by the gunfire. None of those from the Chiefs organization were injured.
So we just have no idea why somebody would start shooting like this?
No motive at this
I mean, come on. We have no idea. Is there ever a reason? Is there ever a good enough reason? No, there's never a good enough reason. There's never, whatever reason it is, it never makes sense ever. You can't make sense of something like this. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. Lisa Lopez Galvan was a mother of 2, and she was a lifelong Kansas City Chiefs fan. She died during surgery at a local hospital for a gunshot wound to her abdomen. Her loved ones confirmed that to the Kansas City Star. Her friend said she was the most wonderful, beautiful person. She was a local DJ. She did everybody's weddings. We all know her. She was so full of life. Throughout the afternoon before she died today, Lisa Lopez Galvan's Facebook was filled with messages offering hopes for a safe recovery. Things like sending prayers to you and your family. Her adult son also suffered a gunshot wound. And one of her 2 cousins, believed to be minors, was injured in the chaos. She was in her mid-40s, lived with her husband and 2 children in Shawnee, just 1 hour southeast of where this tragic incident occurred. She worked as a DJ for a local community radio station, KKFI, and she was the co-host of Tejano Tuesday, which focused on Hispanic music. Beto Lopez, the president and CEO of the Guadalupe Centers, is her brother, according to the Kansas City Star. She was a Kansas City Chiefs fanatic whose Facebook page was littered with support for her team in the days leading up to their 2nd consecutive Super Bowl win on Sunday. According to the Star employee, a different Lopez named Lisa Lopez, this Lopez It's another Lisa Lopez who's not related to this Lisa Lopez. Anyway, she's quoted as saying, Lisa, the decedent, texted her on Monday in hopes of grabbing a commemorative edition of the newspaper to document her favorite team's historic win. Just like to put up one more picture of her. And prayers up to Lisa Lopez Galvan's family, friends, and also hoping that the people that she was with who were also injured make a swift and complete recovery. Rest in peace, Lisa Lopez Galvan, killed today during today's tragic events after the Kansas City Chiefs victory parade outside Union Station in Kansas City. Not what we all want to be doing on Valentine's Day, but here we are. I also think maybe that's why there's not a lot of coverage. Somebody said, why is nobody on YouTube covering this? And it may be because today's Valentine's Day and people just are busy. They have plans. They're not available. Very, very sad. There's also a report in the New York Post that also is indicating that some of the Chiefs players helped calm scared kids after the shooting today. Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer reported that the players had been unbelievable in calming panicked kids down. He specifically pointed out Blaine Gabbert, Trey Smith, Austin Ryder, and Chris Oladokun. Smith went to one upset kid, gave him the WWE title belt, and sat with him until he calmed down. Breer posted on X. A lot of people were impressed with what Smith and your teammates did on that bus. Very tragic, very sad. And our hearts, prayers, and thoughts go out to the entire Kansas City community, the entire Chiefs team, the entire fan base. Travis Kelce posted that he was heartbroken over the tragedy that took place today. He said, my heart is with all who came out to celebrate with us and who have been affected. KC, you mean the world to me. He posted earlier on Twitter. Absolutely heartbreaking. Some other video pulled up for you. Let me see if there's anything else we can play before we say goodnight. There were a few witness accounts. Let's see. We'll go to some of the witness accounts. A witness from Denver, reported by Denver 7. Let's see what he has to say.
Right as everything wrapped up on stage, we were picking up our backpacks and whatnot to leave. And as we did so, we heard what I thought was fireworks.
Kansas City police confirming several people were struck by gunfire.
So I was pretty calm and looked over, and people were running for their lives and kind of freaking out a little bit. My nephew looked at my brother and I and said, aren't we going to get out of here? And my brother and I both looked at him and said, it's just fireworks. And we just kind of watched. And then we kind of started walking away, and we heard all kinds of sirens, and we saw a pretty big response from ambulances and whatnot. And then we started hearing that there had been a shooting and multiple people shot. When we heard what we thought was fireworks, and we looked down and everybody ran, there was one guy laying in the middle of the ground. And I thought that he had probably just been run over by the crowd and was injured that way.
I'm angry at what happened today. The people who came to this celebration should expect a safe environment.
So I never did freak out. We got back closer to the car to where the cell phones were working again. And my wife had been trying to call me and texting me, and she was pretty freaked out. So I got a hold of her, and she realized we were okay. And that's when I started realizing that this was probably a bigger deal than what I realized it was at the time. I would consider us lucky because, anytime gunshots go off, anybody that's in the direction of it's in danger. And we were there, we just didn't realize it. So looking back, yeah, we were lucky. You know what? Once we realized it wasn't fireworks, it was kind of like, I can't believe I had such a slow reaction to it. But on the other hand, it never did feel like we were in danger. And I know that sounds weird when we were that close, but I never did have the feeling that we're in danger. Now, once the adrenaline of the day wears off and the excitement of seeing my team celebrate, I may look at it a little bit differently.
Manny Abarca, he was
Well,
at the parade with his
here's
daughter
another one.
when that shooting broke out. Manny, thank you so much for joining us. Glad to see you're safe. I know this has been a tough day for you. First off, how are you and your daughter doing? What's going through your head right now?
Mixed emotions. My daughter is extremely resilient. She reverted back to training, thankfully, from the Kansas City Public Schools. She knew what to do. She was more comforting than I was helpful. So I'm thankful for that bravery. It's just unfortunate that we're seeing this in Kansas City, but not unpredictable.
Okay, so just putting things into perspective, the first thing you said is your daughter reverted to training. A lot of people at home might be like, oh, she's an EMS student or something. Your daughter is 5 years old. And the training
Correct.
You're talking about is the training that she gets at her public school. Is that right?
Correct.
And she was the one comforting you?
She was the one that was extremely calm. She had no problem being quiet. She even, in fact, said, "I'm glad we're in the restroom." So she knew what to do, and that is a sad state of society that we're living in. If our kindergartners are teaching grown adults what to do in an active situation like this,
That is heartbreaking. And I've said this before on my show, and I'm going to say it again. When I was a kid and I was in elementary school, I used to have nightmares about forgetting my locker combination or forgetting my homework or not studying for a test. And my children have grown up having nightmares about school shootings because they go through these drills in schools. And he just said his 5-year-old knew what to do and was more confident and calm in the situation than he was. Wow. Wow. This is the world we're living in, USA. This is the world we're living in. I know I have a lot of international viewers, and you guys are always in the chat like, what is going on over there in the US? We have none of this in our country. Wow.
A sign of the times. Manny, I understand you were with the team at some point. You were pretty close to the stage. Can you walk me through what you saw from your vantage point and what happened?
yeah, so we were about 3 rows back from the front of the stage. The county was a sponsor, so we were navigating in to a transition point with team members, with the coaches, with other legislators from the city, from the state. When we saw the rush of the crowd, obviously reacting to some situation, and it was a wave of fear that was coming towards us. And I picked up Camila. I ran into a nearby restaurant. I saw members of the Hunt family, Coach Reed and his family, players running towards the same direction. And I took her to a smaller bathroom in the bottom floor of the restaurant, and we hid. And we sat quietly as we hoped no one would come in and no one would end our lives that day.
What was it like to go from this huge moment of celebration to be there with your daughter, to protecting her and fearing what could be outside that door? I mean, what do you tell your daughter after something like this? What are the conversations like tonight?
I took a
His daughter was probably comforting him. Like, don't worry, Dad, we learned about this in school. Apparently it happens all the time.
picture of her as we eventually navigated back to Arrowhead, where she was dancing with her shadow. She had not understood what had happened, and we had to have that conversation with her. And she immediately asked, how are the people? How are the people that are hurt? And we do know them. They're family friends, unfortunately. One who is tragically lost.
Oh my God.
But it is painful to have that conversation with your daughter about the state of our state and its access and ease to guns.
And we're still waiting for official word on the status of a lot of these victims. But can you, just based on what you know, was it families with their kids that seemed to be the ones that bore the bulk of the tragedy here?
Yeah, it seems like it's one core family that many in Kansas City know very well, very well connected, and even I think another elected official that has connections directly with this family. And so my heart goes out to them this evening. And I know hearing directly from other members, third cousins basically of this family, that they're angry. And it's because of the access and ease to guns that this situation happened, whether it was a long gun.
Bad people are going to get guns no matter what, in my opinion. Miku, I'm so sorry that you're having a horrible day. I'm so sorry. I hope this makes your day a little bit better. Happy Valentine's Day. This is horrific. We love you, Miku. Hang in there, girl. You got this. I'm gonna
A short gun, a small one, a fat one. It doesn't.
I'm gonna skip to the next on the playlist.
Riot is everything wrapped up on.
It was around 2 o'clock in Kansas.
Playlist is going crazy. What say you, my friends? What say you? How are you doing in there? Best Cat Mama Club. Survivor's guilt is a terrible thing to deal with. I'm so sorry she's dealing with that, but I think it shows she's a good person to be so concerned with others. Yeah. Forever Wander said she had some friends who were there today, and that is tragic. And I'm so sorry for your friends. And we are sending prayers and thoughts and healing vibes and good vibes to all of the families whose loved ones were wounded today. This is so tragic, and it's just happening way too often. Way too often. Here's a reaction from the players and coaches. Let's see if I can pull this up. Well, I could if I didn't keep swiping myself out. You know how it goes, guys. StreamYard, call me. Call me. You need to fix your platform.
A deadly mass shooting bringing a violent end to the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade and rally. KC police confirming one person is dead, at least 22 are injured. Children's Mercy Hospital saying that at least 9 children are among the gunshot victims. Chief of Police also confirming 3 people are in custody. 1 may have been stopped and detained by fans on the street.
Authorities are also reporting the Kansas City Chiefs players and staff are safe tonight.
Lauren Barnes has been gathering a reaction from Kansas City leaders and parade goers. Lauren?
Bailey, we all watched this news break in the newsroom this afternoon around 2 o'clock, just as that rally came to a close. Police say they're looking into that witness video now circulating on social media showing Chiefs fans tackling a potential suspect.
It looked a little sketchy, and then you just heard shots. And then I looked and saw a body right there and then a body right there.
A deadly ending to the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade following a shooting.
And next thing you know, we seen like 3 or 4 people go down.
Attention quickly shifted from celebrations on stage to chaos in the crowd as families and fans ran for safety.
She covered a leg and it was just blood pouring out. Ambulance came, fire trucks.
A number of us start running, and I see a stream of officers going the exact other direction. With guns drawn, ready to address danger.
Even hours after the shooting, sirens sounded off in downtown Kansas City as Police Chief Stacey Graves gave this message.
I just have one thing to say. This is not Kansas City. I'm angered by what happened, but I want you to know that the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department and all the law enforcement officers that were there today, that were serving and protecting, did the best that they could, and I'm so proud of them that they ran into danger.
Kansas City police say 850 law enforcement officers were on scene, 600 local and hundreds of additional authorities from other agencies.
They detained that situation very quickly.
The White House has reached out offering federal support in the coming days as the investigation unfolds.
You know, we have done a number of these now, and this is a day that a lot of people look forward to, something they remember for a lifetime. And what they shouldn't have to remember is the threat of gun violence, marring a day like this, injuring them and their families.
At this hour, we also know police say they do have one weapon, but they're asking for the public's help, bringing them any additional video or tips going forward.
It was around.
And there, dip below for you in the banner here, the Kansas City Police hotline number for witnesses, victims who have not yet reported being a victim in this horrific shooting today, and anyone who may have video of today's incident or parade or shooting, not of the parade, but of the incident, or any potential suspects. 816-413-3477 is the special number that the Kansas City Police has set up for this purpose. And it's tragic and horrific. I have an interview he pulled up here with one of the men who tackled one of the suspected shooters. Let's just pull this up. It's been posted on Twitter.
One guy was hollering and saying, you know, stop him, or catch him, you know, tackle him, whatever. And he's just bailing running. And out of nowhere, I heard that guy hollering. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm right here. And I didn't even think about it. It just a reaction. I didn't hesitate. It was just do it. So I went to go tackle him, and another gentleman did the same thing. And as I'm tackling him, I see his weapon either fall out of his hand or out of his sleeve because he was wearing a long jacket or like a Carhartt. So when I seen that hit the ground, I'm like, oh, you know, we got to take this guy down.
Wow.
And so, like I said, I did, and another good Samaritan did, and we held him down. And it seemed like forever, but it probably wasn't. It was like 30 seconds holding him down, and me and the other gentleman are hollering at ongoers, you know, where's the cops? Where, you know, get the cops over here, get the cops over here. You know, we got them.
Wow. Thank God for Good Samaritans, huh? Not a lot of people are going to run into gunfire like that to save innocent people. You know, wow. Hey, Patronus Glow. Phoebe says, I want to know if the fans were targeted or was it an altercation? I don't think they were targeted. I don't know if it was an open fire type situation, such as the Lakewood Church shooter on Sunday that I covered. I can't believe I'm covering another one this week. There was another one in the Bronx that I was going to cover. I think it was night before last, and I wound up not covering it. There were 5 teenagers shot at a subway station in the Bronx in the train. Horrifying. I don't even know if they caught those people yet. All teenagers, I think. Teenage gunmen and teenage victims. 5 of them. Dog Defender, 850 officers, and I don't know how many patrons or fans, but the ratio clearly needs to be higher, or these outdoor venues have to be stopped until they can ensure that these creatures cannot be such a high. I don't know. I don't know how you prevent it. Maybe you just got to stop having parades and ticker tape parades, and that's horrible. That's horrible. Thank you so much, Squinting Cat, for the 20 for the cursey word jar. I appreciate you. Paul Youngs, counselor, thank you so much for gifting a membership. And Monica, thank you so much for becoming a member. Usually we try and keep it fun and happy in here, but again, this is the second stream this week that there's nothing funny or even light that we can say about this. Adam Montgomery trial is horrifying. I can't even cover it fully. I covered it with you again the other day. It's my second stream. I did that. Like Dog Defender said, she's having nightmares about it. I can't watch it. My empathic nature can't handle it. It's horrific. Leah Baker, thank you for your super chat. More children die from gun violence than car accidents per year. We are failing. Yep. Did the kids survive from the train? I don't know. I haven't seen any updates on it. Anybody from New York know about that? And Kathy, I agree. Criminals don't care what laws are made. They're going to get their guns no matter what. Adam Montgomery is too horrific to watch. I can't. I have to do it in small doses. Very, very horrific. Thank you. Thank you for thanking me, Dog Defender. I try and cover it compassionately, and I try to keep the chat classy. And look, come for me in the comments. Let's respectfully disagree. But I'm not going to have the kind of vitriol that I've seen on these mainstream media channels that are allowing live chats to happen without having the proper moderation. And thank you, Patronus Glow, for being here. And thank you, Scott Messerschmidt, for taking on the wrench tonight, because you never know what you're going to get when you go live with one of these kind of stories. You never know what you're going to get. Tiff Knox says if the weapon fell out of his Carhartt, then it wasn't a large weapon. Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Thank you. Thank you, Patronus. This is a scary world we're living in, guys. And I know a lot of your moms like me. I have 5 kids. I know a lot of you have kids. This is the world we're living in. This is the world we're raising our children in. I don't know what we can do to fix it or to make the world a safer place. Are they just going to stop having these events? I don't know. I just don't know. But I wanted to bring this to you tonight because I was horrified by it. I know that you were horrified by it. And if you tried to watch it on any of these other channels, it might have been disturbing to you. Yes, please, KPT. Let's call it the Harmony Montgomery trial. Yeah, I agree. Stop using his name and honor her. Yes. Yes. And if it wasn't for that Massachusetts judge that gave that monster career felon, crack addict, meth addict, heroin addict custody of his daughter, we might not be watching this trial right now. So that's another issue that I have with it. Please, on your way out, hit the like button. Push the video out. It's this is a really, really sad state of affairs, you guys. I don't know what we can do about it, but if you're just tuning in, or just to recap anyway, here's a woman who says that her father tackled one of the shooters. Let's see this. Oh, no, I can't. It's KTLA. They don't like me. They don't like people playing their stuff. Okay. Even though it is fair use, I would imagine. This is commentary. This is reporting. Thank you for thanking me for handling this compassionately. Kansas City Chiefs were honored today at their victory parade in Kansas City outside Union Station. It's reported that the crowds were somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million people were there to share in the victory of their Chiefs winning the Super Bowl for the 2nd year in a row. This was Super Bowl number 58. Shortly after 2 p.m., or right around 2 p.m., as the ceremony was coming to a close and everybody was leaving the stage, there was some commotion to the west of the stage. There was some shooting. One person has been reported dead. 21 are injured. And 12 of them are children. All of the children, 9 of them had gunshot wounds. They are all expected to make a complete recovery. Sadly, the 40-year-old mom of 2, Lisa Lopez Galvan, died during surgery from a gunshot wound to her abdomen. She was a lifelong Chiefs fan, and we should not be reporting this today. 3 suspects are in custody, according to Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves, who is a badass and doing her best to stay measured, calm, and articulate during the 2 press conferences that we watched her do today. It's been also reported that many of the Kansas City Chiefs players helped and stuck around to calm the children that were freaking out. The mayor and other people who were on stage were told to get underneath the stage, and they did not know what was happening. This was a terrifying event that transpired today in Kansas City. during the Chiefs victory parade. And the mayor of Kansas City told us that there were 850 law enforcement officers there. Tragic incident. We have no motive. We have no identity on the suspects. We don't know what happened. But, oh, uncivil. Where are you? Where you been? You been living under a rock today? The Kansas City Chiefs victory parade was ending, and there was some gunfire and open shooting. One woman has sadly passed away from her injuries. There are 12 children at the Children's Hospital. 9 of them are gunshot victims. They're all expected to recover. But at University Health Center, which is a level 1 trauma center, there are 8 shooting victims. 2 are in critical condition. 2 are in critical condition and 6 are stable. And then there are 4 victims who are suffering from other injuries right now. So somebody had indicated in the chat that there was a second death. I am not able to confirm that yet. The one woman who did pass away was a lifelong Chiefs fan, and this is horrific. It's horrific, and I don't like reporting on 3 of these a day, 3 of these a week. This is the 3rd one this week. Second one that I've reported on. The one in the Bronx I did not report on because I was just unable to do it that day. Prayers up for all of the victims, for all of their families. For everyone who is in the hospital recovering, for the entire community of Kansas City and the entire Kansas City Chiefs team. We're praying for you. And we're trying to figure out how to make sure that this never happens again. And thank God to the Good Samaritans who tackled at least one of the shooters. Thanks again to my moderators. It's very late here in New York. We are coming up on 1 a.m. It is 1 a.m. here in New York. This was a last-minute live stream that I felt like I had to cover because I didn't see anybody else talking about it on YouTube. And I know that some of you guys wanted to watch it and you wanted to watch it with me, and I wanted to watch it with you because I couldn't handle the chats in some of the mainstream media channels that I was watching. So Valentine's Day is over. This was a massacre like nothing we've seen lately, I don't think, at a sporting event, at a parade, at a victory celebration for the Super Bowl or the World Series. And, you know, is this going to mean that we're just not going to be able to do this anymore? I don't know. But thanks to my mods for coming in. Thanks, Scott, for taking a wrench tonight and helping out. We appreciate you. To all of my viewers, my replay viewers, please like the stream, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. Hit the bell so you're notified when I go live last minute like this, because I announced it 20 minutes before I went on. Thanks you all for keeping it classy. And thank you for coming to watch. Remember, you guys, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard. It's really not hard. Prayers up, Kansas City. We love you.